got to take a big man and I have to start a team and build it around him, it'll be Joel Embiid for me.
I really struggle to feel super excited about this MVP.
When you look at the list of league MVPs over history, historically speaking, he would be the worst one.
With the Denver Nuggets becoming the 2022-23 NBA champions and Nikola Jokic securing the Finals MVP trophy, the Joker officially silenced every critic who ever doubted him. Nikola Jokic finally completed the one achievement missing from his legendary resume, winning at the absolute highest level in basketball. Once again, Jokic proved the doubters wrong. So now it's time to revisit some of the wild takes people had before the NBA Finals even started. When Jokic won his first 2 MVP awards, the Nuggets finished the regular season as the 3rd and 6th seed, and critics immediately used the playoff exits against him after Denver lost in the Western Conference semifinals in 2021 and the first round in 2022. That postseason disappointment caused many analysts to question whether Jokic could truly lead a team to a championship. NBA analyst Lowe was one of the voices expressing concern about Denver's ceiling with Jokic as the centerpiece. At this point, everybody already knew the ridiculous numbers Jokic could produce on a nightly basis, especially with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. eventually returning healthy to boost the roster. However, expectations changed quickly once Denver became serious contenders in the Western Conference, and some analysts even argued that team success could actually hurt Jokic's MVP voting chances. The Nuggets ended up finishing the regular season as the #1 seed in the West, and despite Jokic not winning the MVP for the first time in 3 years, the 2022-23 season still became one of the greatest campaigns of his career. One major reason Jokic lost the regular season MVP was because many people constantly dismissed his advanced analytics, accusing him of stat padding and relying too heavily on numbers instead of dominance you could see. With your eyes, a lot of people around the NBA believe Joel Embiid passed the eye test better than Jokic. One of those people was NBA analyst Mike O'Connor, who strongly believed Embiid deserved the 2022-23 MVP award over Jokic. He argued that Joel Embiid was leading the league in scoring, playing elite defense, and carrying a better narrative than Jokic. O'Connor even claimed the media relied too heavily on advanced stats they barely understood, and said it would be embarrassing if analytics were the deciding factor in the MVP race. And yes, Joel Embiid eventually won the regular season MVP award, which validated many of those arguments at the time. But once the playoffs started, Jokic completely changed the conversation by leading the Nuggets to a championship, while Embiid once again fell short in the postseason. Demarcus Cousins, one of the most dominant centers of the 2010s before injuries derailed his career, also questioned whether Jokic deserved to win 3 straight MVPs. Cousins argued that winning 3 consecutive MVP awards would automatically place Jokic in conversations alongside legends like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and Larry Bird. He openly admitted he wasn't comfortable calling Jokic one of the greatest basketball players ever before seeing postseason success. Cousins even said that giving Jokic 3 straight MVPs would push him ahead of names like Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, and Wilt Chamberlain in all-time debates, which he believed was way too premature. But after the 2022-23 playoffs, Jokic forced the basketball world to reevaluate everything they thought about him. He didn't just win games, he dominated the entire postseason while proving he was absolutely capable of leading a championship team. Patrick Beverley, another outspoken NBA personality who never hesitates to share controversial opinions, also made headlines with his take about the league's best center. When asked who he believed was the best big man in basketball, Beverley shocked people by saying Karl-Anthony Towns was more offensively gifted than Jokic or Embiid. Pat Bev claimed KT was the most talented offensive center he had ever been around, even comparing him to James Harden skill-wise. Unfortunately for Beverley's argument, the Timberwolves got completely overwhelmed by Jokic and the Nuggets in the playoffs. Throughout the series, Jokic outplayed Towns in nearly every statistical category and showed exactly why he was on another level. NBA analyst Skip Bayless also found a way to criticize Jokic despite Denver's dominance against the Lakers, while fans praised Jokic for hitting impossible shots and dismantling LA's defense. Skip dismissed it by calling Jokic the luckiest player alive. Bayless claimed Jokic was simply throwing up circus shots that somehow kept falling, comparing it to random luck instead of elite skill. Jimmy Butler, meanwhile, had a much more playful rivalry with Jokic after recalling how Jokic accidentally busted his lip during the Olympics years earlier. Jimmy joked about Jokic ruining his pictures and promised he hadn't forgotten the incident. But once the finals arrived, the Heat simply couldn't stop Denver. The Nuggets defeated Miami in 5 games and Jokic walked away with a Finals MVP trophy. Then came Kendrick Perkins, who delivered one of the most controversial Jokic takes of all. Perkins suggested racial bias played a role in why players like Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and Jokic won MVP awards without being top scorers. That comment sparked massive backlash across the NBA community, with many people calling it unfair and completely disrespectful toward Jokic's greatness. Ironically, after Denver's championship run, Perkins completely changed his tune and admitted he had been wrong about Jokic. He later praised Jokic as the most skilled center to ever touch a basketball and admitted the media failed to properly market him to casual fans. Perkins even argued that people shouldn't have needed an NBA Finals run to finally appreciate how special Jokic really was. Joel Embiid also became part of the debate after publicly questioning MVP voting criteria multiple times during the season. Embiid complained that analytics favored Jokic too heavily and argued that defensive impact and the eye test weren't being valued equally. Even though Embiid finally captured the MVP award, Jokic completely overshadowed him by winning the championship and Finals MVP while delivering one of the greatest playoff runs by a center in NBA history. Nikola Jokic has never been viewed as an elite rim protector or lockdown defender, and analysts like Kirk Goldsberry pointed out flaws in his defensive numbers during the regular season. Statistics showed Jokic allowed high percentages around the basket compared to other elite centers, leading some critics to question whether he could survive defensively deep in the playoffs. But once postseason basketball arrived, Jokic elevated his effort, positioning, and defensive awareness enough to become reliable on both ends of the floor. Up until that championship run, many fans respected Jokic as an incredible talent, but still hesitated to place him among the all-time greats because he lacked postseason success. Even respected journalist William C. Roden admitted Jokic's career still needed time before being placed among the legends of a game, but after leading the #1 seed in the West to an NBA title while winning Finals MVP, Nikola Jokic officially entered the conversation as one of the greatest players basketball has ever seen. Still, many people believe Jokic's story is only beginning. Just 28 years old during that championship season, he was entering the prime years of his career with plenty of time left to build an even bigger legacy. Questions immediately shifted from whether Jokic could win a title to just how many championships and MVPs he could realistically collect before retirement. Could he continue dominating the league for another decade? Could he eventually challenge the greatest centers ever for the top spot in NBA history? Those conversations suddenly became very real after Denver's historic run. The scary part for the rest of the NBA is that Jokic never relied on overwhelming athleticism to dominate games. His IQ, vision, touch, patience, and footwork are the kinds of skills that age beautifully over time. That means his game could realistically remain elite for many years to come. And unlike many modern superstars obsessed with social media fame and constant headlines, Jokic has always appeared focused mainly on basketball and his family. That grounded personality is one of the biggest reasons fans admire him so much today. He doesn't chase attention, controversy, or celebrity status. He simply plays basketball at an unbelievably high level and lets the results speak for themselves. The 2022-23 postseason run completely changed how Jokic is viewed historically. Before that championship, critics labeled him a regular season player who relied too heavily on advanced stats and couldn't translate success into deep playoff runs. After winning the title and Finals MVP, those narratives completely collapsed. Suddenly, the same analysts who questioned him were forced to admit they had underestimated one of the most unique players the sport has ever seen, from impossible passes to ridiculous touch shots to total control of the game's tempo. Jokic showed the world why he's such a nightmare matchup for every defense in basketball. Night after night, he dismantled opponents with patience, intelligence, and efficiency. And what makes it even crazier is that Jokic never seems rushed or emotional during games. And no matter how intense the moment becomes, he plays with the same calm rhythm that has now become his trademark. That composure helped elevate Denver into a championship team and transformed Jokic into an all-time basketball icon. Now the pressure shifts to the rest of the league to stop him. Because if the Joker continues improving and collecting championships, the debate's about his place among legends like Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Duncan, Hakeem Olajuwon, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are only going to get louder for years. Doubters questioned whether Nikola Jokic could truly dominate when the lights were brightest. Now those same doubters are watching him sit on top of the basketball world as an NBA champion and Finals MVP. And if this championship run proved anything, it's that the Joker story is far from finished. The rest of the NBA has officially been put on notice.